And welcome everybody to One with Nothing. I am your host, Salvage, and I am so excited to share the launch of my new channel with all of you. This channel's namesake is in honor of the magic card One with Nothing that for a long time was widely regarded as the worst card Wizards of the Coast ever printed. Here it is, it's 1 black to cast the spell, it's instant speed. When it resolves, you and only you discard your hand. That's it. It's not discard your hand and then wipe the board. It's not discard your hand and gain 20 life. It is just pitch your hand into the yard. You know, maybe these days you can enable some kind of madness interactions with this, or you find some other use for it. But back in the day, man, there were not nearly as many options with this card as there are now. And so that's exactly the point of this whole channel. This channel is going to be 100% dedicated to lifting up and showing off and showcasing these cards in Magic that you look at and initially think, well, there's no possible use for this card. This card is terrible, or, you know, this card would be better used to prop up my wobbly table in my living room. There's so many cards like that in Magic that I'm sure we've all come across before. I'm of the opinion personally that everything in Magic is playable. Unless Wizards of the Coast is going out of their way to deliberately make cards that are bad to play, working from the assumption that they're not actively trying to make cards like that, then I think everything in Magic's history and present and hopefully future is playable and has some place in a deck. Maybe you can even make a deck that turns around that card and only works with that card, that on its own in any other deck perhaps that card would be terrible. So that's what this channel is going to be about, and I am so excited to get started and talk about some of my ideas, hear some of your ideas, and just extend the sort of LGS conversations that you're probably used to having at your local game store. I'm excited to bring them here and to have them with you all. So before I go any further, I absolutely have to thank two of my biggest inspirations for starting this channel. First and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to Demo and his amazing channel, EDH Deck Building. If somehow you got to my channel without checking him out, I highly recommend that you tune in with him also. If you like his stuff, he's got a Patreon where you can support him, and he's just a phenomenal guy. I got to play Commander with him the very same day that I became one of his patrons, and we had a ton of fun. So big ups to Demo and EDH Deck Building. I also want to thank Michael Lynch and the wonderful creators and people working on the channel I Hate Your Deck. You've probably heard of these guys. Certainly if you're here, you've probably heard of them. But if you haven't, I Hate Your Deck is a show in which the host Michael Lynch invites on a rotating cast of guests. They all play Paper Magic together in person, and each of them brings a wonderful positive energy to the game, and you get to watch their commanders pop off, as they say, in glorious fashion. So seeing how much fun those two channels were having, I just could not resist jumping into this space with my own ideas. Now it feels like the golden age of Magic and the golden age of Commander. There's just so much enthusiasm in our amazing community, and to see where we are now, the options we have, the amazing commanders that are out there, the incredibly terrible commanders that are out there. It's just so exciting, and there's so much to work with. Some people, when they hear the idea of building, underwhelming, underplayed, underpowered commanders and commander decks, sort of roll their eyes and, say, why bother? There's many better cards out there. Why would you, throw obstacles in front of yourself unnecessarily? But my personal philosophy on the matter is that, winning is never a guarantee in a game like Magic, really in any game, certainly not in Magic. So in my opinion, if you build your deck from the inception just to win and, to put only the best cards in on the highest power, if you go into it with that mentality, then you're guaranteed, I think, to have a bad time, especially when you're facing decks that do things that you're not expecting, or decks that outplay you. It's really impossible to have a deck that functions optimally in all situations. So, if you build with only the goal of winning, then you're going to be sitting in a fair number of games clutching a hand of cards that maybe you can't play, or they're not as useful as they normally are, and you're just getting tense and having a bad time. Then I think you've lost already, even if you do end up winning that game. On the other hand, if you approach the idea of deck building and then playing the game, wondering what is possible, what cards can you bring into this that are not as recognizable or common, but that are, fun to see. I don't know about you, but I always have fun when I see a card on the table that I haven't seen before and the effect is new to me. when you play cards like that and you're pushing the boundaries of what's viable and fun in the game, then I think you win every time. Even if you technically lose, if your life hits zero before the end of it, you're more excited to shuffle up and play again. You're more excited to see, what cards you can pull out of your deck and show other people how you can make them actually good, or how they might just be bad and then everybody laughs because they're bad. The cards are bad. But, hopefully you've got some kind of coherent strategy to turn those cards into more than just, you don't want to troll people with playing bad cards. If you bring that energy to the table and you build your decks that way and you play those kinds of games, then almost 100% of the time, everyone playing at your table with you is going to have a blast, if you bring that energy to them. So that's all for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for checking out this video and my new channel. I'll admit I do not have a sign-off worked out quite yet, so I will simply remind everyone out there to please wear your seatbelt, and if there is voting near you, you should really check that out. It's pretty cool, and if you can vote, go do it. Cheers.